Hi Samuel, several months ago, the Robolabs owner, Michael Corin, made an email newsletters about some kid who saved up the pocket money and purchased the Robopop popcorn machine somewhere in Australia. Let's start from the beginning. I first didn't believe it because it doesn't look like oh my god, it can be true. I go to the Google and I try to find some information about you, and I found your Sam's Popcorn website with a lot of information about you by yourself and some warm words about the Robolabs. Can you tell how old are you right now and how old you were when you just started this business?
So right now I'm 13 years old, turning 14 soon, but I was actually 9 years old when I first had the idea to start a business. At first I just wanted to be in the market for having a business, and I didn't really care what I was selling. But I started making chips like crisp, but I needed special machines and I couldn't get those at the time. So I stopped doing crisps and eventually decided upon making popcorn at 9 years old. For an entire year, I did market research and recipe development for my popcorn. And at the age of 10, I first started selling my popcorn to my family.
This is quite unusual because usually young boys and girls at age of the 10, they usually watch the Disney cartoons, but it's quite uncommon way. Why did you start your business? Because it's quite hard even for the adults.
Yeah, well, I really just wanted to be part of the business market, and I really like seeing people's reactions when they try my popcorn and realize how good it is.
Popcorn? Ah, thanks. This is amazing.
Not biased at all, but
I saw that interview, then you told that I bought some popcorn from the supermarket and I found that I can make it better. I guess that it was quite at the beginning of idea.
I thought the popcorn in markets wasn't as good as I thought it should be, so I decided to start doing popcorn.
yeah, it did take a long time to start my business, but I persevered and I really wanted to do it because I thought that I could make a better product, and I also I just wanted to have a business.
Some legal questions, because I guess that my subscribers will never believe me that in some part of the world the 10 years old boy can have his own legal entity. So I guess probably your parents help you with the paperwork. And can you tell me how it looks like in the legal field? Because on your website I saw that you got the bank account in the Commonwealth Bank of Australia.
Yeah. Well, it was pretty hard to just set up my business, and I did get together with mum and dad to get a list of everything I had to do. I had to get an Australian business number, a tax file number. It was a lot of work for me starting off at 9 years old. But I persevered, and while it did take 3 months to get the tax file number because the website thought I was too young, I did what I had to do, got a food handling license, and started my business.
How the people in the tax collector reacted first, then so young customer visited them?
Actually, at first I tried to do it through the website, like most people do. But when I got to putting in my date of birth, it said, hey, you've put in the wrong number. It shouldn't be 2007 as your date of birth year. So then I had to go through the actual office themselves, and they thought it was just a joke call, so I had to get Dad to confirm that I was in fact trying to start a business and I wasn't just making it all up.
So first you visited the tax office alone, without the parents?
Oh, I mean, Dad dropped me off, obviously.
It's just surprising, because if I were at 10 years old, I will never think about I can come somewhere without the adults because, oh, I don't know how it works like.
Well, I mean, I've had a lot of good experiences while starting my business, and I do publicity in the form of visiting classes and other groups as networking, and it's all been a really good experience for me starting my business, and that's actually one of the other reasons I wanted to start a business, so that I could have those new experiences.
Start the business, you will need some money to buy the machines, and sometimes it's not cheap machines. Where did you get the funds for it?
I actually didn't purchase the machines that I bought from you guys up until a couple years after I'd actually started, because at first I didn't actually want to be dependent on any loans or anything. So even though my parents offered to give me money, I used my own money that I'd gotten from things like science competitions and things like that to make my first batches of popcorn. And from there I reinvested, got better bags and all of that stuff. And eventually, one year, I was having a lot of trouble filling all of my orders, because I'd started getting orders from large commercial companies. Like Lagardère is a company that owns stores in airports all around the world, and they wanted me to stock my popcorn in some of their stores in Adelaide Airport. And just before that, I had purchased your machines because I had just saved up enough money for them. It was pretty good that I had bought those machines, because otherwise I wouldn't have had to make 1,000 bags in a week as their first order. But yeah, I saved up over and reinvested over the first part of starting my business. And when I had to, I expanded by buying your machines.
I was surprised when I read the story that your grandfather gave you the microscope and you trying to make some science research in a school time, and you win some competition and you say that I saved my money like from the award and I decided to not spend it on the lollipops but buy the popcorn machine. Is it true?
Yes, it is. I put all of the money from like things that I'd saved up before I wanted to start a business. Although I had wanted to start a business back then, I just hadn't gotten around to it. But I put it all into my business. And even to this day, I haven't paid myself any money out of my profits for my business. I've just reinvested over and over again.
I'm surprised because it's type of the behavior of not schoolboy, it's type of the behavior of the adult entrepreneur, so appreciate it. One question about the Robolabs machine. We heard this part of the story from our service engineer. He said, you know, someone from Australia contacted me and he said he bought the used popcorn machine and it breaks down and he wants to fix it, and it looks like he's really young. And after that, our owners tried to make some research and said, hey guys, he's 12 years old. I just can't believe that. Can you tell that part of the story with the failure of the machines?
Yeah, well, when I first had bought those machines, I was given the contact details of your office in Russia, and as soon as I could, I emailed you. I was very surprised how quickly and easily I was able to communicate with
Alexander, yeah.
Yeah, and it was really easy to communicate with him, even though we were on the other side of the world in a different time zone. One of the things that I had to do was I had to coordinate my electrician to convert the three-phase power that they needed to 240 volts. That was the local power supply that Mum and Dad's house could run.
Oh.
And he was really helpful with coordinating that. In fact, I'm pretty sure that if I hadn't had his help, I wouldn't have been able to set up those machines. So I'm really thankful for that.
Nice to hear it. Another part of the questions is about the supply and demands, because my viewers probably will tell that, okay, anyone can spend the money and buy the machines, but the biggest issue is how to sell the finished product. I guess that a lot of companies sell the popcorn in Australia, even in South Australia. This is not empty market. How did you find your customers and how did you sell your product?
So when I had first started my business, I was just selling to my close family, like cousins and grandmas. Mum and Dad thought it would just stay that way for a couple of weeks and then I'd drop off doing it. But no, my family talked to their friends and shared my popcorn to them, who talked about it to their friends, and my business pretty much spread through word of mouth. Eventually, I was contacted by a few radio stations and newspapers in Adelaide who wanted to get my story in their papers and on their radios. And that was a really good bit of publicity for me. That was basically the main part where my business really exploded. I've also done a lot of networking, like I said before, with my business in schools and with other groups. Sometimes the kids in the schools go to their parents and go, hey, there's this kid, can we buy popcorn from him?
That's great. Can you tell, when you start your business in the 10 years old, what was the name of the machine and where did you put the factory by itself and where your factory is right now?
Well, I actually, at first, I didn't even have any machines, and the factory was Mum and Dad's kitchen.
So you did it, I saw in the video that with some girl that you just put all ingredients in the regular pot and put it in a kitchen oven. It was the way you made a popcorn?
Sam's popcorn begins pretty much the same way most does, with a pan, some oil, coconut oil in this case, some corn, and of course the pop.
Lid on, and I have to really be careful, otherwise it'll be burnt, and time is crucial for this. So it's nearly done. So in it goes. Wow.
Yeah, for basically the majority of my business, maybe about half of my business, the first half, I was just making popcorn on the stove and using the oven to cook my caramel popcorn, and that was just how my business worked. But eventually I realized that I needed more production and I needed to make my production more efficient. So I looked into a solution to that and eventually came across your machines. Even though Mum and Dad didn't want me to, I spent $20,000 that I'd saved throughout a year of my business, and it was all of the popcorn machines were actually in Melbourne and I'm in Adelaide, so I got Mum and Dad to drive me down to Melbourne and I hired a van so that we could bring the machines back.
Oh my god.
And then we put all of the machines in the living room, so that was the new factory floor.
You put the machine inside the house and you found the 240-volt supply inside the household.
Yep, it was pretty hard work, and that's I'm really thankful for Alex for helping me out with that.
The Robolabs machine, which model is it? I guess it's like a Robopop 60 or Robopop Mark IV.
So I've forgotten the exact what they were called, but I've got an air popper, a caramelizer.
You got two machines?
4 actually.
You got 4 machines from Robolabs?
Yep.
Oh my god.
An air popper, a caramelizer, a tumbler, and a cooling tray. All in our living room.
I just can't believe it, because this is industrial machines and it's not like a really small 8 ounces popcorn machines with the kettle. This is a really big machines which can give you up to 60 pounds of the popcorn per hour, and I guess if you will run it like several hours, all your living room will be in the popcorn. So I guess this is a lot of popcorn inside the living room.
Yeah, well, about half of the room's taken up by the machines and the rest is taken up by tubs of popcorn.
I guess that if you can produce such amount of the popcorn, you should have the same amount of the sellings. Can you tell how many bags you sell per month or per year?
It really depends on what time of the year it is, because people order more for holidays and things like that. The year before last year, I had gotten $20,000, like I said before, for the popcorn machines. But the number of bags I sell per year would have to be in the thousands, maybe even 10,000 bags, because I sell to a 5-star hotel in the city, in the Adelaide Hills, stores in Adelaide Airport, a few other retail places. And as well as that, I just sell online to just anyone who wants to order popcorn through my website.
You sell to the regional cinema?
Yeah, I sell to one of the cinemas in Adelaide. They've been really supportive of me throughout my time as running a popcorn business, because they started buying my popcorn pretty early on, and so they've been really supportive of me.
That's really great that adults can support the kid, because when I read part of your website, I found that you donate a lot to the charity, to the Children Cancer Association, and it was quite a surprise for me, because usually when people start to earn the money, they usually first earn for themselves, and only after 30 years old or 40 years old, they starting to think about their responsibility to the society. So the question is, you are quite young and I guess you have a lot of different interests. Why don't you save up some money and buy some sport car, fly to the Miami, get some crazy rest, make a race with a police car like Justin Bieber did when he was really young? Why don't you make this way? Why do you spend to the charity? It's quite unusual.
Well, when I first wanted to start my business, it wasn't all about the money. Okay, maybe it was a little, but I also wanted to raise money for charity. My grandma has had cancer for 6 years, and I found a charity online called the Childhood Cancer Association. They raise funds and provide services for kids with cancer and their families, and I really wanted to help them. With cooperating with them, I created a partnership called Kids for Kids. I sell specially marked Sam's popcorn pails in schools through fundraising programs and also through my website. 40% of the sale price, not the profits, the sale price of each pail goes to the Childhood Cancer Association and helps them provide services for kids with cancer. So far, I've raised over $20,000 to the Childhood Cancer Association through my work, and I'm really looking towards continuing that.
You did more than many adults did for the charity, for the society. I guess it's very important because you cannot eat 2 breakfasts, you cannot ride 4 cars at the same time, and at some period of time everyone probably will start thinking about each other's. Really appreciate. And in this case, another one question: you are now 13 years old and soon you will be 14. Have you got a plan? And this is frequent question from your interviews, but anyway, what is your plan and who will be the Samuel Franklin Withers at age of 23, for example?
I'm really looking forward to continuing my business, and while I'm not sure where that'll lead, but so far I've really enjoyed running my business. In the more near future, I'm looking towards expanding my business further to accommodate for the increased demand on my business, and I know that I'll be buying Robolabs machines in the future.
Great. The last question, it's not about the money, but it's about the lifestyle. I did see that you're working a lot. In the early morning, you wake up and you have some popcorn, then you have to go to the school, then have to make some homework, and then some delivers and popcorns again. And you made it for 3 years. I guess you can be tired, are you? And for example, if you will be adult, do you want your kids, your son, work as hard as you working right now?
I think that just in terms of balancing for just between school and my business, communicating is really important with my customers and my parents on how I meet a deadline, either for school or for my business. But I feel as though it's really rewarding and I've really enjoyed running my business so far. My advice out there for any kids that are running their own businesses is to don't be afraid to ask for help, even if that just means working out how to make a deadline or how to talk to a customer. Although I do communicate with my parents and my customers, it is ultimately my business and my responsibility to do the work. But even if I feel tired or don't feel like doing it, I go through with it, and by the time it's done, it's always a lot easier than I thought it would be, and it's always rewarding.
I appreciate you give some time for me and to Robolabs company. We will make this interview in both languages, Russian, English. Once it will be ready, I guess it will be like 2-3 weeks, I will send you a link, and I wish you only one great success, because this is an amazing story. And I guess that this is a really good sample for the young kids who are thinking about what should I do in future. Should I listen some rap music, make some bad stuff, or should I make some charity? Should I make my own business? Try to make communication with my networks. Have a good day and thank for your time.
Yeah, have a good day and thanks for having me.